All right. So I'm drawn into this flat Earth idea, and it's not without merit, although there's not that much scientific proof. And yet they have come up with some evidence that shows that the Earth could be flat. Okay, maybe. Here's what we do: 4 unmanned aircraft, drones, launched from the exact same line of longitude. One near what, as a globalist, would be the North Pole and the South Pole. Well, not directly, but at an equal but opposite latitude, reasonably. And 2 launched from the equator on that same line of longitude. Now, all 4 aircraft would travel at a predetermined speed east, but, well, not directly east, but the two equatorial orbiters would start to spiral out towards the poles, while the 2 polar orbiters would start to spiral in towards the equator. Now, here's what would happen. If the Earth is a globe, the 2 polar drones would circle much faster than the equatorial drones in the beginning. At some point, the equatorial drones and the polar drones would cross paths, and they would circle at exactly the same rate. And finally, the 2 polar drones would start to orbit at a slightly slower rate as they approach the equator, while the 2 equatorial drones, as they approach the poles, would start to make faster orbits. And that would, I say that would be definitive proof of a global Earth. Now, a flat Earth, the northern probe would make faster revolutions. I mean, it would actually make more revolutions than the southern drone. And as the equatorial drones moved out, they would change rates and not be on the same lines of longitude at the same time, because the inner drone, or the northern drone, would start to make quicker orbits, while the outer drone would start to make slower orbits. And the opposite would happen from the polar drones, or the inner and outer drones, whichever way you believe. Now, if we could find somebody that would put up the money to pose this experiment, I would say we could close the freaking book on this, and we could either confirm 2,500 years of science, or we could start a whole new era. Whichever, I don't care. All I'm asking is, give me demonstrative proof one way or the other. And so I'm just putting that out there, and I hope that somebody will possibly see the merit of my idea and decide to undertake it. Because all this other stuff, I mean, there's light refraction, there's all these other different, I mean, there's atmospheric densities, and I mean, how is a rainbow made? It's made by light refraction, and light is split into different beams. I don't know what kind of planet we live on. I've never been in space. The farthest up in the sky I've been was when I flew to Iraq on a 777. But anyway, please, somebody listen to what I say, and if I'm flawed in any way, correct me, but try to execute such an experiment. And I know this will take, a matter of years, because first of all, we have to have drones that can all maintain the same speed with respect to the, you know, GPS coordinates, and we want each and every drone to travel at exactly the same speed relative to the surface of the planet, whether flat or round. And the idea being that the data collected will either produce a flat disk or a big ball. Why not? Laters.